crack out of the chaos.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Welcome to week 14 of the Roger Cador Show. Can you believe it? We're already up to week 14, Coach. How are you, my friend?
Fine. Can we turn it back? Can you turn the hand of clock back?
No, time is the one thing that once you let it go by, you can never get it back again. We start today's show with yet another individual with a national profile in athletics, and this one has a unique Baton Rouge connection in all of this. If you would, for our viewers watching at home, Coach, do us the favor of giving us the introduction.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have one of my former players and coach who is now working in the professional level as a scout. But he's just not any kind of scout. Mm-hmm. He's what you call a national cross-checker. And we're going to let him explain to you what a national cross-checker is and what does it do. The name we're talking about is Jerry Flowers. Hello, Jerry. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Coach?
We're doing fine. We'd like for you to try and explain to our listening audience what a national cross-checker is and what does it do.
Well, the national cross-checker falls up under the umbrella of the scouting director of every major league club, and what his job title is to do is to get out in front of the scouting director and to hone in on identifying talent for the top 2 rounds of the draft, which is considered the money round. We go across the country and evaluate and line up players according to their ranking. And after we get an assessment of each guy, we rank them according to finances, abilities, projection, and profile.
So finance plays a big part into how things are happening now in baseball. So if signability is a difficult issue for a small market team like Cincinnati and Oakland and those kind of teams, Kansas City, all small market teams, it could be an issue you are drafting them. Am I correct?
Well, that's a yes and no. The no is because they have everything now pretty much slotted. So we pretty much know an idea or a range of what kind of money we can offer because everybody's assigned a pool of money that can be allocated for the top 10 rounds. So if you go with that pool, then you'll be penalized. But you can stay under the pool and negotiate downward.
Oh, so they have some things in place. Okay. Let me ask you. So what determines then, if it's not money, is there another determination that small market teams look at opposed to the Yankees and Dodgers and Boston?
Well, a good example would be the Reds. We have to build through the farm system. I mean, we haven't not seen that kind of club that's been big players in the free agent market. we like to build within because it gives us more cost control players, where some other teams might have the luxury of, trying to build a championship team through the free agent market.
Okay. Now, so where do y'all go with? Do y'all prefer high school players opposed to college players?
Well, in today's baseball, you're trying to keep a balanced draft as much as possible, and the reason why you want to do that is because the younger the better, but also there are a lot of college guys that are closer to being big league ready, so we try to have a blend in our draft.
Okay. So you were a coach at Southern, and how did you get into coaching? How did that come about?
Well, as being a former player, I guess I was at the crossroads between being the famous dreaming, do I play professional baseball, go get a job, start a family, and all of those things were on my mind. But coaching came about with the help of a former assistant coach of mine, and as well as yourself, and allowed me the opportunity to go back to school to get my master's degree, as well as learning the craft of coaching at Southern University.
But I need to know who that former coach was, assistant.
His name would be Marco Patti of the Chicago White Sox.
Well, I like that fact because Marco is of historical proportion that we won't discuss on the show. But it was good that he recommended. He actually hired you. You won't say it, but I will. Marco actually hired you, and he told me that I should hire you, and it was a really good hire. I was telling Clarence earlier in the show that you're the only, all of my coaches I've had, you're the only one I really went everywhere with you when we were scouting players, because we could talk about situation and the kind of players we were looking for. And you were really a good student because you listened and you didn't think too much of yourself, and it pays you dividend for you. Talk to some of the things we did when we were scouting college players.
Well,
recruiting, rather.
When we were recruiting players, we saw the guys of Juan Pierre. We saw the likes of Roy Oswald. We thought we could recruit everybody. We didn't care what they were, what color, what size, what position, what school. We just wanted to get the best players for Southern University. And we stumbled across a very group of talented kids that ended up playing professional baseball and also allowed us a chance to win the SWAC championship in '96. So it was very rewarding opportunity coaching over there at Southern University.
Well, and the thing is, I grew up on a system where the head coach, everything, literally what he said went. I don't think I was that way because I allow you guys to make recommendation. And the only way you were going to get better is to maybe make a mistake here and there. But I must say, you guys weren't making very many mistakes when you were recommending players. Those guys ended up being pretty good players. But
well, Coach, you know the old saying, the assistant coach runs the program, the head coach gets the paycheck.
That's right. That's right. Well, you're very famous for one of the greatest finding all of professional baseball in the last 30 years. You were then an area scout with Cincinnati at the time, and they sent you into Florida to snowbird. Tell people what snowbirding is.
Well, I was a upper Midwest scout in the Chicagoland area, and what they do is because of the baseball season doesn't start until April, they allow us an opportunity to go and sit down in the Florida or the southern regions to, because of so much baseball, to help balance out the coverage for the organization. And I was given a list of players to go down there to evaluate, and I ended up stumbling across a player that was not on the radar, and I was just scratching my head in disbelief of, what are we missing out in the industry? And come to find out, that kid ended up being a Golden Spike Award winner, National Player of the Year, second overall pick in the Major League Draft, and helped your program win a few championships along the way. His name is Richie Weeks.
Yeah. That was one great find. I'll never forget the night you called me and said, I can't believe nobody's on this kid. And you better hurry and get on him. And you had all the information. You said, I called my people and they don't think he's that good. And that was a tragic because so many people missed him. You know, that was a scout with the Mets who became a scouting director, was coach. He heard about Ricky Weeks when he got to Southern. He was scouting in Columbia, South Carolina, a college game. And he called me and he said, this can't be the same kid. I used to throw batting practice to him. He lived 2 doors down from me. Wow. He said, it's no way. And I can't think of the scout name right now, and I feel bad. But he drove, literally.
Joe Delicari.
Huh?
Joe Delicari with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There you go. Mm-hmm. He drove all the way to come see Ricky, to see if it was the right guy. He said, I don't know. And then he missed him. So my point is, so many people miss Ricky. The day I saw Ricky play, it was 100 scouts there, scouting directors, general managers, cross-checkers. They all were there in Orlando. And I'm saying, why are they seeing what I see? And it was you and I who saw. Remember, you learned from me, I learned from you, and we saw the same thing in this young man. And he ended up being a great college player and played 14 years in Major League. So it was a great experience. It was a great find for you. But he's just one of many other kids that you found and recommended. But when you're a kid like that, people need to know. And it wasn't that hard. It wasn't like you went and dug him out of a hole or something. He was there for everybody to see. Am I correct?
I agree.
Jerry, what is the most rewarding aspect of your job?
To actually get a chance to sit in houses and get a chance to assist kids in making their dreams come true with the opportunity to play professional baseball. Really changing lives financially, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, you name it. And becoming lifelong friends with the people that you get a chance to encounter.
When you were running the bases at Southern and taking batting practice and the whole nine, did you envision yourself today being where you are today, Jerry?
No, I told you when we first started the conversation, I thought I was supposed to be a major leaguer, but I guess that wasn't in the cards.
So when did the light come on for you and say, you know what, I can make a go of this?
To be honest, I'm going to tell you, Coach Cador has been very instrumental in a lot of kids. He always preached education to us. And as we start playing the game and start realizing the older you get, the clock is pretty much just stop ticking.
Right.
You got to start realizing what's your next phase in life.
Uh-huh.
And believe it or not, coaching was not even part of it either. I just happened to stumble across that. It's about right timing and right place.
Right.
So I just give it all to the Lord because I didn't think I would be a coach, let alone a scout.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What was it about the game of baseball that fueled your love for the sport?
This game is really interesting from several aspects. This is the only game that doesn't have a height requirement, a weight requirement, a color requirement, or a speed requirement. This is the only game where you can play the game on pure ability and be evaluated as a professional athlete.
We talk about scouting. The ironic part of, I didn't find you in Chicago. It was a student assistant coach, a kid who had played in Chicago, from Chicago, and I had him working as a student assistant who found you. Tell us the story, because it's amazing how you could get to Southern all kinds of ways. Can you tell us the story?
That's an interesting story. Well, I was at the crossroads from playing college football, and the guy named was Jerome Cochran. He said, hey, man, come down here to Southern University. I said, where is that at? Being up north, we were kind of not abreast with all of the historic black colleges until, later on in life, we were able to start, getting our education level up on the black colleges. So he said, hey, man, come down here. I said, okay, I'll go down there, no big deal. I come down to school, and I didn't even know they didn't have no air conditioning. It was just hot. It was just, I said, oh, my God, they didn't have a baseball field. I said, what are they playing? Down the street. I said, what are you doing down here? So then when I get there, one thing about Coach, he will challenge you, but you got to be man enough to take the challenge and see where you are. And a lot of kids today are built that way.
Well, the generation of making young people to be tough. See, baseball is a game of tremendous amount of failure and disappointment. And you have to start at some point getting their mind prepared to deal with failure, and still get the job done. Because, and Jerry, you could tell a story too. When you were there, we might have had 80, 90 kids on the team. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So you had to be tough and hang in there.
Mr. Buggs, I'm going to tell you this part of the story that you'll find interesting.
All right.
Coach Cador is the only guy that ran off major league players. Coach Cador is the only guy that had all-state players that was getting balls under the hump and couldn't start. But that was because of the depth that we had. We had 2 and 3 depth charts. If you made the depth chart, you was pretty much a good player.
Right.
You didn't have to play in the field. You made the depth chart, you was good.
Well, I tell you, I did the best I could under the circumstances that I was dealt the hand, not having the field. But you know what? Not a lot of kids left. They stayed right there with me and waited their terms out, and they ended up doing really good, and some of them became professional players. You know what I'm saying? And, so I'm really proud of the fact that I had so many wonderful people who trusted in what I was doing, and they stayed with me. Jerry, we could talk all day. I know, but we'll get the time in. But I really appreciate you coming on. I look forward coming, down the road, bringing you back on, because I think we're gonna have some more interesting things to talk about. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, Jerry. Take care.
Take care, Jerry.
Thank you.
Do you ever take time and think back, reflect upon the fact that when you started coaching, and I love to hear the story anytime I hear it, you could put everything that your program had in a shopping cart, and you'd push it to practice, push it back. And today, you talk with general managers of major league franchises, national cross-checkers, MVPs, top draft picks. Do you ever take the time to just kind of sit back and look at it for what it is, or are you too busy doing other things?
Well, you really don't want to look back too much because there are so many more challenges up in front of us that we have to take on every day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Times are different, and the things I did, I can't really elaborate on them and fantasize on them, Clarence.
Right.
I did what I had to do with the people I had in place, and we did it. Now, there are more challenges out there that I've got to go attack and try to make better.
Well, there is certainly something to be said about making the best of a bad situation and doing the most you can with whatever it is you have at your disposal. We're a little bit late, so let's go ahead and get our first break of today's show out of the way. We'll come back and talk more on this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Sorry we went over.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock, conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. We cannot go any further into the show without talking about what is arguably the biggest sports story in the entire state of Louisiana, if not certainly the football universe at this point. Drew Brees calling it quits 15 years to the day. And as I got to think he knew that this was coming up. Okay, this is the day I signed with the Saints 15 years ago. I wanted to end 15 years to the day. No big surprise there, right?
No big surprise. I think he did the right thing. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he probably had to have another shoulder injury and rehab to try and come back at 40-some years old.
Yeah.
Probably it's time now you go home. You can see your kids grow up. You can do some things with them that you probably couldn't get to do when you were playing football.
Two-part question. His legacy. What will it be in the NFL, and what will the legacy of Drew Brees be for the city of New Orleans? Let's start with the NFL.
Well, obviously he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's going to be one in the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks who ever played the game. As it relates to New Orleans, he could run for mayor of New Orleans and win by a landslide. Because he did so many things. He literally saved that city. He signed after Katrina. That needed an injection of something positive. And he was there for them. And then bringing the NFL championship, a Super Bowl, that was even icing on the cake. But he did so much for that city, and they love him so. And he's an icon in there.
Yeah, he is that. Short of maybe, I don't know, Tom Brady in Foxborough, maybe no more beloved quarterback for a city in the history of the NFL?
Well, Peyton Manning could probably have been in Indianapolis. I'm not saying he is.
Right.
But, I don't know that much about what happened with him there.
Right.
But Foxborough, certainly with Tom Brady, and then Drew Brees in New Orleans. And obviously, I don't know anybody else.
And it makes a big difference when you're talking about a city that went through what the city of New Orleans went through.
Yes, they went through a lot, Clarence. I mean, it was devastating. Families lost all their members. They lost everything they owned. And
members, memories.
Yeah, memories.
Everything.
I was talking with someone the other day about the memories they had involved that they had for safe memory. Hundreds of years. The flood came and wiped all of that out. Well, I say flood, but the hurricane.
If not for the recent rash of injuries, I mean, the guy outside of the injury that forced him out of San Diego, he was pretty much injury-free throughout his career. Had it not been for this rash of injuries, there was the shoulder, there was the thumb, there's the high ankle, there are the ribs, How much longer do you think he would have played had it not been for those injuries?
Now you're asking too much of him.
You want fries with that too? You want fries to go with that too?
Yeah. He probably could have added a couple more years. I mean, because he didn't take many hits.
Right.
He was able to take the quick 3-step, drop back, and get rid of the ball pretty quickly. So he was one of those quarterbacks like Brady. Brady not going to get hit too many times.
Right.
Peyton Manning didn't get hit too many times. Those guys lasted a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they ain't taking them hits.
No. We in talking with Jerry in the last segment, and you've heard as a bit of a recurring theme, baseball is a game where it's predicated more on ability and not you meeting the stereotype. You don't have to be a certain height. You don't have to be a certain weight. You don't have to have a certain wingspan. Drew Brees kind of adopted that in football. He wasn't the tallest. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the most rugged. And yet, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, he beat the odds that people put up there. People write numbers and say you got to be this to achieve this.
Right.
He just went out and worked hard.
Went out and played the game.
Played the game. Mm-hmm. And he developed a great relationship with his teammates.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to stay healthy and win ball games. You see, one thing when you're a really good teammate, teams protect you. Those guys protect you. And they did the little extra work to protect Drew Brees.
In today's society, with the me mentality, is that part of a bygone era? Are you a dinosaur now if you step into the locker room and your main focus right off the bat is to be the best teammate that you can be?
No, you won't be a dinosaur. It's just that you're not going to have a lot of guys like that. Mm-hmm. That's why it's hard, when you got tradition, teams that has good tradition.
Right.
Like the Patriots.
Right.
They had great tradition. The Saints, great tradition under the coach.
Right.
And that's why they win every year in and year out, because the tradition is there. Mm-hmm. And if you look through history, coaches who build tradition won because they can keep players in place. Not going to have big turnover in head coach.
No.
You may have it in the staff,
right?
But the head coach stays there.
So now I'm going to ask you to take off your coaching hat and put on your general manager hat. Got to have a quarterback now. What do you do? Where do you go?
Well, let's ask Jonathan in the truck. Well, we think that Mickey Loomis, he's got something figured out, obviously.
Right.
And he did an extension with the quarterback there, and maybe may re-sign Winston. But it still doesn't mean a trade. It's going to be hard to trade for Wilson or the quarterback in Houston, because you got to give up so much.
Yeah.
With them guys got the salary they had and what they're asking, it's just you may be straightening them in one place and weakening in another. You got to have a good defense to win.
Oh, without a doubt.
So
without a doubt,
if they don't keep building defensively, they may be able to get by with the quarterback they have. That's what I'm thinking they're thinking. Let's make our defense a little better. We've got pretty good personnel on the offensive side. Let's just maybe find a piece here, a piece there, and go from there with it.
What do you think it's like being the guy that gets picked, tabbed, anointed to replace a legend? What's that like?
It's not good. Most people struggle with them. Many situations, people struggle trying to replace a legend or an icon, someone who enjoyed a multitude of success.
Right.
It's just not easy because you know who don't accept them? The people who pay the money, the fans.
Yeah.
They don't accept nothing better than what that guy left did. And
Right.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
It's not really. He's a Hall of Famer. The next guy's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Unless you get a Wilson
Right.
or Deshaun
Watson.
Watson. Unless you get one of them guys. And at what cost?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So my point is, they're going to beat whoever quarterback over there up unless it's one of them guys.
Right.
And it's a shame.
Obviously, there is a little bit of an advantage, a different variable here. Sean Payton has up and running now a plug-and-play system, whereas it's not like you're going to have to build a franchise around a new guy. You simply get one that you think you can plug into the system and continue the success. That's got to make it somewhat easier.
It makes it somewhat easier. I just worry, though, that with the Brigham Young quarterback, number 7,
Taysom
Hill, that if he's got to play more than 50% of the plays, it's so tough with the defenses. He's not that experienced type of quarterback.
Right.
He's been mainly a plug-in kind of guy.
Right.
Come here, do this, do that. But when you got to play every down,
every single down. Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see it all unfold.
But we want the Saints to be successful.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And while it will be interesting to watch unfold, the good news is we're not going to have to wait long to find out. Football for the fall will be around the corner before you know it. We'll get this break out of the way, and we'll come back and talk more on this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Break out of the chaos.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. As we continue working our way through, Coach, we have covered a number of individuals that are integral in the inner workings, the inner machinery of Major League Baseball and the sport itself. But particularly for HBCUs and other college programs for that matter as well. Many of the individuals that we rely on to give us the story of the game, the history of the game, all of that comes from dedicated media individuals. If you would introduce to our viewing audience for this segment who the next guest is on the Roger Cador Show.
Yes, Clarence, we're pleased and pleasure to have with us Michael Coker. Michael had been writing for many years with every level of newspaper and sport entity that I know of. Mm-hmm. And Michael also have a law degree. Michael, how can you explain a guy with a law degree writing sports?
Well, first of all, thank you, Roger Cador, and Clarence Bucks for having me on your show, your program. It's an honor. But writing has always been a passion of mine. Covering HBCU has always been a passion of mine. I do things legally. I'm a what's known as in the field as a paralegal slash legal expert. Mm-hmm. So I still do things legally, but I am not. I don't have a law. I have a law degree, but I am not an attorney, and it helps me out because I'm a great writer. Whether it's technical or what have you, writing legal briefs. But it has been my goal and dream to switch HBCU baseball, and it has given me that opportunity to write.
Well, I tell you, you've written them for a whole lot of different newspapers. But tell me, the work that you all have done to go back and research some in the history of the HBCUs that you all brought, I mean, it's just amazing how you all found this information. Can you share that with us?
Well, HBCU baseball, let's be honest, was there before Major League Baseball. It was there before the NCAA. We're talking HBCU baseball goes as far back as 1865. And that came from Atlanta University, which is now Clark Atlanta. That was the very first HBCU baseball team that was formed. And HBCU baseball has a very rich tradition because it was strictly played at historically black colleges and university campuses. Teams were organized, they practiced, they played games against each other. The very first HBCU game that was played was Clark College and Atlanta University. Like I said earlier, Atlanta University, which is now Clark Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And that game, the very first HBCU game that was played was 1888. And then you had Morris Brown College and Morehouse in 1896, also formed and played baseball. So baseball for historically black colleges and universities has always been rich in tradition, and we have a history.
Well, baseball was the first sports etched in our culture, and as I think about it, I know two universities, Grambling and Southern, where the presidents were the baseball coaches of the baseball team. And I know some other president coach somewhere else, but I knew about those two personally because it happened right here in the state of Louisiana.
Well, Coach, you're correct on that because back then, let's be honest with ourselves. Baseball was a black person's sport. It was our sport. Mm-hmm. Before football and basketball became a household word and became the glamour sport that it is today, mm-hmm. It was HBCU baseball, and it was played by blacks. It was enjoyed by blacks. It was enjoyed by African Americans. It was our sport. And a lot of those presidents who coached their institutions, HBCU institutions, were actual players themselves. But there's always been a love for the game and a respect for the game. And that's why I like HBCU based on love writing about it.
Well, a lot of things people don't know about the HBCUs and the Negro League players. Most of those players came out of HBCUs and played in the Negro League. Can you elaborate on that for us?
A lot of those players that came, like I said earlier, a lot of those players came from HBCUs, and HBCU was the draft. Even though the draft the very first draft was in 1960, I think it was 62 or 63, one of those 2 days. Before then, when you were assigned to a minor league team, they strictly came from HBCUs when they were looking for the black players, the African Americans, because that's where the game was played. It was organized and practice was on HBCU campuses. A lot of scrimmages from a non-HBCU institutions took place on HBCU campuses, and it was organized. And you know, you touched on quite a bit there. Grambling State and Southern are 2 of the better programs dating back. But we also have things like Morgan State that had that field of the team besides Southern. We also have Virginia Union. And like I said, South Atlanta and Norris Brown have teams. So it has always been rich in tradition. It will still be that way today.
Well, you know, back in on the East Coast, and South Carolina State may not be considered East Coast, but it's in the East, Southeast. And they had, before they abandoned that program, they had Gene Richard and the big first baseman that was signed with Kansas City. Oh my goodness! You know who he signed with the Angels first. Gene Richard signed with San Diego. But there was another player on that team that South Carolina had that went to South Carolina, was Mookie Wilson. Can you imagine had they played with those 3? I'm trying to think of the third player name, but those players were on South Carolina State's team. Wow. But they abandoned that team, and they went and signed those players, and the rest is history.
It's funny you mentioned South Carolina because I played HBCU baseball at Hayward Waters College. Mm-hmm. And at that time, there were like 3 or 4 teams that were the top, besides Southern. Everybody knew about Southern. Everybody knew about Grambling. But there were Shaw and South Carolina. Now, we had a scheduled 3-game series against South Carolina. And coming in, we were fearful of them. And I'll tell you why. Because I was the catcher at the time, and South Carolina came in, and they scored 1 run off of 3 stolen bases and 1 hit. All they did was run.
Wow. Speed was the name of the game. That's why the black players were intriguing to Major League scouts and teams, the Branch Rickeys of the world. They knew that there was a game-changing event when you can have someone who could steal bases.
And I'll tell you something that it's funny you say that because he's not from an HBCU, but a guy named Euro Washington who had speed. They taught him how to play baseball so he could do one thing. Still second and third.
Yeah. Well, I broke it against UL Washington. We played each other. With Kansas City, he was part of that Kansas City Academy.
Yes.
So, Michael, what's the most rewarding part about what you do for writing?
It's the fact that I get to push every team, every baseball program, and the things that they put on the field to the general public, to the nation. I love HBCU baseball. When I got involved with writing collegiate baseball, this is my 20th season writing collegiate baseball.
Right.
I started off with a company that's no longer, a publication that's no longer with college baseball. Nobody mentioned anything about HBCU baseball. I did some work for Baseball America. Nobody mentioned anything about HBCU baseball until I got with a gentleman named Russell Bell, who had his own publication with Black College Baseball.
Right.
And that's when I started pushing hard. And then I joined Black College 9. I think this is my 8th year.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it's been an honor. There's so much going on that needs to be reported that we're reporting.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend, we just had our top 10 polls. And our number one team in the small schools was upset.
Mm-hmm.
That's newsworthy. If it wasn't for Black College 9, we would have not known. And it's being taken notice by a lot of people, because I get calls all the time from places I didn't think that they paid attention to baseball, like Montana,
right.
Idaho, Oregon. So HBCU is growing. It's always been there, just that we have to, at Black College 9, with all of us writers, we have to get out there and we have to push the fight out. Because, and I tell you this, and I've said this to you before, Coach Cador, that you put the product on the field and we will report it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it, and I'm proud to say I'm one in the voting member with your organization to vote for the top teams in HBCU.
Yes, you are. You are one of 45.
Mm-hmm.
It is important to us because when we first took on the endeavor, we were just 6. And we felt that was not good representation for the schools. We felt that it wasn't good representation for the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So we reached out to a lot of people and baseball enthusiasts, HBCU enthusiasts. We don't have just for HBCU baseball. We have guys that vote in our polls from D1 Baseball, from Baseball America, from everybody who wants to promote HBCU baseball. New Black College 9 votes in our polls. And it's an honor to have you, Coach, because of what you have done, your career, and how you have brought HBCU baseball to the forefront during your coaching days of Southern. And that's what is intriguing to me. And that every day that I start writing about HBCU baseball, I pat myself on the back, because if it wasn't for the legacy of people like Coach Cador, Andre Dawson, Ralph Carr, and if you really want to know who my favorite HBCU player is Larry Bowman and Ricky Weeks. If it wasn't for you guys, I'd probably be doing something different.
Well, that's it, Alder. Thanks so much for giving us that plug. I tell you what, Mike, we have ran up against the wall with the time. When you're having fun, you can't ever have enough time, and discussing so many wonderful things. But we'll get back with you. Maybe after the season, we can talk when the baseball season is over with. We could talk about the poll, okay?
Coach, anytime. I would love to be back.
All right.
And I would love for you to have me back. God bless you all.
Okay,
God
Mike,
bless
take
you,
care.
Mike. Thank you, sir. All right, final break of today's show. We'll get this done and come back. And boy, we got a lot of ground to cover when we come back. Week 14 of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bugg Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And, of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican. The Clarence Bugg Show. The only thing missing is you.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tool, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back for the final segment of today's edition of the Roger Cador Show. You know, listening to you and Michael Coker talk about at Grambling State, the president of the university was the head baseball coach as well. And I'm assuming you're talking about Ralph Waldo Emerson Jones.
Yes, sir.
He was a phenomenal individual. I often think about the story that the late legendary Eddie Robinson told me. He hired Eddie Robinson to coach the Grambling State football team right out of college. Had never coached before, and apparently Ralph Waldo Emerson Jones saw something in Eddie Robinson, hired him as a football coach, the head coach, with no experience at all. The first year, they didn't win a single game. The second year, they were undefeated, untied, and not a single team that they played scored a single point against them for the entire season. They don't make individuals like Ralph Waldo Emerson Jones anymore, do they?
No, they don't. If they make them, we don't find them.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we don't give them the freedom to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that guy, you're right. He was the president of that university, but he was a regular person.
Right.
I mean, I was a student playing. I played against him when he was coaching that team and the president.
Right.
You know, and even coached basketball when he was still the president, and he would sit in the gym at basketball games. He had a chair on the favorite side sitting there.
Right.
I mean, just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move a little closer to home. LSU takes on Alabama, trying to get that SEC championship, but at the end of the day, the old saying still holds true. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships.
Don't let that guy drive the whole court. The length of the court and lay it up. Can't let that happen.
No.
Defense wins championship. Somebody got to say, I want to win it, baby. I mean, Coach wasn't happy. Coach Wade was not happy about that. Then that means now you got to go down and try to score late in the game.
Right.
See, young kids think, well, I'm going to make it. It's no big deal.
Right.
That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
But just stop the guy.
How tough is it to swallow when even after that, you get a shot, miss the shot, and you miss the follow-up. You miss the putback.
It's hard to do.
That's tough to swallow, Coach.
Try swallowing. Let's see.
But now, even after all of this, you reached the finals for the first time in 28 years. I know there are no moral victories, but it's a little solace that you're peaking at the right time. You make that run in the SEC in the conference tournament, and now you get ready for the big dance.
Well, it would have been easy had they won it now to win it because Kentucky will be back.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and, you know, so that's what makes it tough. Don't say next year. Next year will have its own challenges.
Yeah.
Now, as it relates to the NCAA tournament. They playing St. Bonaventure.
Number 8 seed.
You got to watch it. It's a East Coast team.
Right.
They play a little different. Probably gonna have a little more physicality.
Probably.
So you got to be careful there.
Let's switch gears again. Major League Baseball announcing recently that the minor leagues are going to be experimenting with a number of things to enhance the watchability, if I can make up a word, of Major League Baseball and increase safety in the game. One of the things that I find most interesting is that they're going to experiment with artificial umpires, robo-umps, as they're called. What do you make of the concept?
Is that the ones that called us on our phone? Robo?
No, that's the other robos. Is that taking the human element out of the game something that makes it less personal and less enjoyable?
Yeah, I like the human element.
Yeah.
But let's just see, they're doing it in the minor leagues.
In the minors, right.
Yeah, at least they're not playing with it at their premium product, which is Major League.
Yeah.
You don't want to experiment too much during the season with that. That's you play with somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so you will see. I mean, I'm not for it, but listen, we living in a different time, Clarence.
True.
And the way to enjoy the time you're living in is to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Adjust.
Yeah. The old folk used to tell us, if you're not moving forward, you may as well be traveling backwards, because the rest of the world continues to move on.
That's
and
right.
It'll pass you like you're in reverse. We got about 45 seconds left. Les Miles and Kansas parting ways since the last time you and I were together. Do you think coaches and players will now get the message and govern themselves accordingly? Or are we talking about something as old as the human race, males, females? You're going to have folks that are going to take liberties that are not theirs to take.
You can bet your bottom dollar it'll be somebody else.
Yeah.
Who's going to do it? Clarence, that's human. Somebody's going to do it. They didn't hear or see it. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's a shame, but somebody else will do it.
Yeah. It's a sad reality, such is the nature of the beast. It's the world we live in. And for many people out there, try as we may, there will always be folks that figure, I'm smarter than everybody else. I can do it the way nobody else did it. I won't get caught. And the next thing you know, you are either a headline in the paper, the lead story on the internet, or you're being talked about on the Roger Cador Show.
Oh, my goodness.
Speaking of, on behalf of the guys and the girls out in the truck, floor producer extraordinaire, Mighty, he is the coach. I'm Clarence. We hope that we will be able to say that we are so honored next week to be in your presence as we present yet another week. Week 15, as a matter of fact, of the Roger Cador Show. Till then, go Jags.
I use my